So what happens after the world ends? I mean, you think being one of the only people left is a chance for a perfect restart, right? But the first real test for humanity's brand new beginning wasn't some huge disaster. It was a family crisis, and it all centered around Noah's sons.
Just try to picture it. The entire world is a blank slate, a complete and total reset for all of humanity, with just one family left to get it all going again. It's the ultimate do-over. But you gotta wonder, after a cleansing that dramatic, can we actually get it right this time?
So here's how we're going to break this all down. We'll start with the very first crisis in this new world, then look at a father's flaw and the choice his sons had to make. After that, we'll get into the curse and the blessing, unpack what it all really means, and finish up with the timeless lessons this story has for every single one of us.
All right, so the first crisis of this new era, it doesn't come from some outside threat. Nope, it comes from within the family. Because it turns out even the hero chosen to save all of humanity is still, well, human.
You see, after the floodwaters finally went down, Noah gets right back to it. He starts rebuilding civilization. He becomes what the text calls a man of the soil, and he plants a vineyard. Now, this is a huge symbol, right? It's a sign of a return to normal life, of culture and society starting all over again.
But that symbol of new life, it pretty quickly leads to a moment of real weakness. Noah drinks some of the wine from his own vineyard, he gets drunk, and he passes out, completely exposed in his tent. It's such a raw, vulnerable human mistake. And what happens next is going to set the course for the future.
And this is where the whole story pivots. It stops being about a father's mistake and becomes a true test of his son's character. See, the real drama isn't that Noah got drunk. The real story is about how his three sons react when they find him like that.
So it all unfolds in 3 steps. First, you have Noah, completely vulnerable. Then his son Ham walks in, sees the whole situation, and what does he do? He immediately goes outside to tell his brothers, basically putting his father's shame on blast. But his brothers, Shem and Japheth, they do something totally different. In this incredible act of respect, they grab a garment and they literally walk backward into the tent to cover their father up, making sure they don't see him in that state.
I mean, you couldn't have 2 more different reactions, right? It's a perfect tale of 2 choices. On one side, you've got Ham, who chooses to see and tell, a clear act of dishonor, of exposure. And on the other side, you have Shem and Japheth, who choose to cover and respect, a true act of honor and protection. Same situation, but 2 fundamentally different characters revealed.
And these actions, they don't just stay in the tent. Oh no, they create ripples that spread out across generations. What happened in that one moment leads directly to a curse and a blessing, showing us just how a single choice can literally define a destiny. When Noah finally wakes up and realizes what happened, his words are prophetic, and man are they severe. He says, "Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves will he be to his brothers." But then he blesses his other 2 sons, saying, "Praised be the Lord, the God of Shem. May God extend Japheth's territory." These words just sealed the future for all of them.
So the consequences are laid out, crystal clear. Ham's lineage, through his son Canaan, is cursed to servitude. Shem's line is blessed, setting up a special spiritual relationship with God. And Japheth's family is blessed with territorial expansion and prosperity. 3 sons, 3 totally different destinies, and it all traces back to that one moment in the tent.
Okay, so that's the story. But what's the bigger picture here? What is this all really about? Let's peel back the layers and look at the deeper meanings about things like sin, honor, and the very fabric of family.
This story hits on some really powerful themes. First, the persistence of sin. The flood cleansed the world, sure, but it didn't cleanse human nature itself. Second, the absolute importance of honor. The central issue here isn't the drinking, it's the sacred duty to protect your family's dignity. Third, the incredible weight of our choices. A single private action can have massive, generational consequences. And finally, you see these totally divergent paths. How different people responding to the exact same challenge can end up in completely different places.
So let's bring it home. How does this ancient family drama connect to our world, right here, right now? Let's talk about the timeless lessons on honor that are just as relevant today as they were thousands of years ago.
It's a totally fair question to ask about any ancient story, right? Why should this matter to me in my life? Well, let's break it down.
The lessons here are actually incredibly practical. It starts with just remembering that nobody's perfect, not even our heroes. They all have flaws.
The real test is how we react to those flaws in other people. And this brings us to a choice we make probably every day. Do we choose to cover or do we choose to expose? Think about it. When a friend or a family member messes up, is your first instinct to text everybody and share the gossip, or do you try to protect their dignity? That choice is all about respect, which isn't just some nice idea. It's the absolute foundation of any healthy family or society. And it just proves that our small daily attitudes, they have huge results. They define our character and they shape our future.
So we're left with this one final, really challenging thought. In a world that seems to love exposing other people's faults, this ancient story forces us to ask a very personal question. When we see someone at their most vulnerable, do we choose to expose or do we choose to cover?